All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chick from Green the Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time you're through to Eagle Eye, the Transfer Rumour Show, where I talk to you about rumours surrounding the Arsenal. Now, apologies for my hair; it is a state. Oh, let me cover that up right now. I don't give a damn. I couldn't find where my hat was, and it was right next to me. So yeah, let me cover that. Let me cover what's going on here. Please do stick a like on this video. Absolutely destroy that like button for me. I appreciate it when you guys do that. You already know this. Please do stick a like on this video. Share the video around. For anyone who is new, please do subscribe. I bring this to you every single weekday without fail. Um, I'm trying to target. I'm going to fix down a time sooner or later. I'm going to try and target either 7 or 10 at times when I give you the show. So without fail, I'll always try and bring you the show. Please do stick a like on this video as we talk about some transfer rumors, baby. Let's do this. So Arsenal, I've spoken about this story before. I think last week, but the link has since become a little bit stronger, and that is Arsenal are targeting 20-year-old. No, that's a huge lie. I am right. 20-year-old centre back Boubacar Kamara. He is the highly rated centre back who plays for Marseille. And yeah, Man City have been all over his case for some time, and they view him as someone who could potentially play next in their defence. And Arsenal being the latest team to be linked with him. For those people who don't know, because I know when I initially put this video up, waiting for people to come to the story, people were like, wait a minute, we don't know anything about him, Chick. Well, like, give me some information about him first. Let me go. Let's give you some information about him. He's 20 years old, centre back. He's been playing some decent football this season, made 24 appearances, grabbed himself a couple of goals, actually got a couple of assists, weirdly. But he's a good player. Very, very good player. They very much highly rate him over in France. I'm telling you, France are producing centre backs. I don't know what's going on. They have a few that are just rolling out, and this is the latest one to be on the trend. Tough tackler, this one. 20-year-old, plays beyond his years, apparently. Very, like I say, very highly coveted, very mature player. And again, someone who Arsenal view as a potential candidate to play alongside Saliba. I like this player a lot personally. I don't know an abundance about him, but I am aware of him. But again, to be honest, and I think I said this last week, I just assumed he was going to end up at City because I knew City were taking a close look at him. Potentially, City weren't all that confident they were going to get Upamecano. So obviously, if you're not going to get Upamecano, this would be your next stop, I presume. So yeah, they're looking at this guy. From my perspective, I'm not amazingly happy with the idea of signing him. Not because he's not good enough. I just don't like the idea of, if Saliba is going to be the new starting guy, you want someone with a little bit of experience next to him, And even if that guy is Upamecano, at least Upamecano has had some sort of experience at top level. This guy, whilst he's played in Liga 1, he's not really done a lot else. So it does kind of make me worry as to whether or not moving forward he's going to have the experience and he's the right person to play alongside an equally inexperienced player in William Saliba. I've always said this. I like the idea of having a foil next to Saliba, but an experienced one, someone with, for me, someone with a little bit of experience, someone with a little bit of guile to him, someone that doesn't even necessarily play in a style that Saliba plays. I like the idea of having a defense where you mix and match a little bit. And to be perfectly honest, this guy, I would say, is a slightly different style. Like I say, he is a tough tackler, pretty I won't say aggressive, but he's very strong in the tackle. Like I say, he's a good player, but I just, for me, I would have rather someone with a little bit more experience. Like a broken record, I keep coming back to Jonathan Tah as someone that would be my choice to play alongside William Saliba. But you know, I put it this way: it wouldn't surprise me. There are two things about this whole story around defenders. The consistent story, the story that I think people believe, is that the defenders will end up signing this summer. It's probably Pablo Mari and maybe this Kumert guy, maybe, as your two centre backs. Then they let go of Mustafi. I feel like for them, if they can get something of real high quality that has long term resale value and is young enough and capable enough to play alongside Saliba, I think they'll happily bring them in. And that's the only reason that I still feel like I don't think they've necessarily ended their interest in Upamecano. I don't think we have any chance of getting him, but I don't think Arsenal had necessarily ended their interest in him. And I could believe that they're looking at people like, Gabriel is another one from Lille that they're supposed to be looking at, who's another one who's supposed to be quite highly rated. Believe it or not, he's actually not French. He's Brazilian. I know we're being linked with a lot of French guys, so you never know. But, so it'd be interesting to see how all of this shakes down. Obviously, it's going to be a much shorter transfer window this year due to the circumstances that we all find ourselves in. So you've got to think that Arsenal, even before, even if this season is to restart, and let's face it, it's still a big if. If this season is to restart, you've got to think Arsenal really got to start making some moves, even with the limited budget we do have. And that's going to be difficult because I think if we are going to spend money, we're going to have to sell, which means you're potentially asking people to leave before the season's over. But we also need to just, quite honestly, be selfish and start making plans. And I still don't think it's impossible for us to spend a decent amount of money, even if we have to raise that money ourselves. We just have to move quickly and try and secure these finances as quickly as possible. But what does anyone else think? Is anyone? I know some of you guys do watch the French league. Are you a big fan of this Boubacar Kamara guy? What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Now, you probably thought this was an unusual story to go with as lead. I was going to go with the second story as lead, and then I noticed my partner in streams went with that earlier, and I thought, fuck. So I had to go with a different story. And that is Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Both of those two are being linked to moves to Napoli. Oh, I didn't stutter. Both of them are being linked with moves, as in a double swoop for both. You're probably sat there thinking, all right, since when did Napoli get all this money? They have a lot of people that are being linked with moves to places. I think they've got at least a couple of players being linked with moves to Liverpool. They've got a couple of players being linked with moves to like Valencia and Dortmund and people like that. They've got Insignia that seemingly everyone is interested a bit of Insignia. And then, of course, let's be real here, they have the big Koulibaly. Now, let's face it, I'd be shocked if he's still there next summer. End of this summer. Because, this is someone who is now being quoted to be 90 million. And if I'm Napoli, he's 28 now, I'd be like, let's cash in on this brother. And let's try and bring in a defender. There are defenders out there we can replace him with. And if we can get 90 million for him, it sounds like a job. And I can ask you guys this question. If Arsenal were then offered 90 million for the pair, would you take it? Let me ask you guys that question. If Arsenal were offered 90 million pounds and Stan said, whatever you get for both of them, you can reinvest it, right? And 90 million pounds was offered by Napoli for the two of them, would you take it? That's a question for you guys. I'll come into the chat room in a minute to see what you lot are saying. From my perspective, I'd be surprised if Napoli end up going ahead to go for both of them. But at least we now know of a team that are interested in taking the likes of Lacazette, for example. Lacazette, who was very close to a move to Napoli last year. I remember seeing that story, but it never materialized. And you got to feel like they need a little bit of firepower, particularly if they're going to lose some of their more attacking players next year. For Lacazette, it's just this season has probably showed everyone, and probably including him, that maybe he's starting to slow down a little bit, and maybe a move to the Italian league actually wouldn't be a bad idea for him. I think he's quite a physical player, and maybe arguably he could do better than the Italian league. But I think, Napoli's not the worst team. I think they're a decent side. Can't remember who coaches them these days, but I feel like, if he keeps his head down, works hard, you can still show people he's a good striker. Listen, I disagree with a lot of people out there. I don't think he's become a shit striker overnight. I really don't. But we are ultimately in the cash business. I keep saying this. And if somebody offers 45 million for a guy who we suspect is just starting to go past his best and has 2 years left on his contract, we always did say we'd sell people if it starts to get into their 2 years in their contract and they're not agreeing a new contract. Would it be the worst decision to sell him? Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. I like Lacazette, but I feel a little bit better knowing that Martinelli's there. I still don't think Eddie will make it, but Balogun's there. We still have a decent backup. Plus, we've got money to come in so that if you did want to replace him, you could. I think we have options there. I'd be highly surprised if both Aubameyang and Lacazette are there next end of the summer. I will say that. I do feel like both of them are going to, probably both of them will go, but at least one of them will go. I think it's the feeling around the footballing world that at least one of them is going to go. So yeah, I guess that would be my question to you. This story is talking about Napoli moving for both of them. I mean, talk about a big boy move, but if they did decide to do that and they offered 90 million, would you take it? And I guess conversely, that then brings me to Mr. Mario Icardi. He is again being linked with a move to Arsenal. Arsenal fans love a hint. They love a hint. Never in my life never in life has this happened, at least for Arsenal. Let me not speak for other teams. At least for Arsenal, and then that player ends up moving to Arsenal. It never happens, and Arsenal fans never learn, but they like to get carried away. Anyway, this happened. I think it was yesterday on social media. I think specifically Instagram. His troublesome wife, she's already making problems. Wanda Mara took to social media yesterday, randomly posted a picture of their son eating, I'm guessing, a lolly or an ice lolly or something, and in an Arsenal top. I think you kind of know what that's going to happen because us Arsenal fans are crazy. We see something like that, 2 plus 2 must be 13. Let's run with it. Never in life has when that happened. Have you ever seen a story when that happens and the player ends up moving? This is the kind of caution I would air people towards. Like, just be easy. Like, calm down. We don't know it's going to happen yet. Now, I see lots of people really down on the idea of that. I think people are really nervous about, particularly his wife, because his wife seems to be at the root of all problems. We're also talking about the same player who played for Juventus, an Inter Milan side where the ultras were like, "Yeah, I've had enough of this bullshit." So I, I do think, despite what I said a couple of days ago about troublesome players don't always be in trouble, this guy potentially could. I'd still take a gamble on him if Aubameyang was to leave, because there are not a lot of goals out there, and one thing this guy has demonstrated moving to PSG is actually when he puts his head down and focuses on football, he's about this football life. He's about these goals. And I think he scored like 20 goals on loan. And people say that was in Liga 1, that Premier League might be different. Yeah, all right, cool. But he's played in two distinct leagues in which I would suggest most people consider among the top 5 leagues in the world. And he's shown you can score and adapt to either. I would take the risk. But I think we do need to really look into his situation and find out how much trouble will this actually be. Are we better off just saying that if Aubameyang and Lacazette were to go, let's just take our chances on a Jonathan David and a Odsonne Edouard? That might be the better play. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Gosh, I am segueing here like a motherfucker. Because speaking of Odsonne Edouard, a story came out today saying that Arsenal are leading the chase for him. He's still not adamant that he wants to leave Celtic. He seems pretty comfortable and he's pretty keen, apparently. He's told a lot of friends and family that if possible, he'd like to stay at Celtic one more season. However, if he was to leave, he would rather play for a team like Arsenal. The reason being is that he wants to play at a high level, at a European level, and play for a team that ultimately is going to give him game time. That's what he's looking for. He doesn't want to go just simply leave and then sit on the bench for another side just because they're a big side. Because he argues that Celtic are a big side, so for him it's not as important. And I think, to me, that sounds very sensible, sounds very grounded. And to be honest, fair enough. Like, I can completely understand what he's saying. So we'll see what happens. What do you guys think? Is this something that you'd be interested in doing? Is this something that you feel like we have a potential chance of moving forward on? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Okay, so Arsenal are also being linked with another forward, a forward called Willian Borges. It's not, yeah, I don't know a lot about him other than he's a youngster. I know that he currently plays for Chelsea. And Arsenal are sniffing around him, as are Spurs, apparently. And yeah, it looks like the contract negotiations between Chelsea and Willian are not particularly going very well. Arsenal are very keen to bring on another young forward, which, from my perspective, worries me a little bit when it comes to Balogun. But yeah, supposedly Arsenal are potentially sniffing around this Willian Borges. I know we have at least one Chelsea fan here who regularly comes into the chat room, CFC. Don't know if you're in there yet, because I'm not looking at the chat room. But if you are in here, please do let me know if this Willian Borges is a good enough player. And then I know you're going to chat shit about how we're not going to get him. Before we get on to that, can you let us know if he's a good player? That would be helpful. Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. What else? Let me just quickly move on to a couple other stories. Before I do so, please do absolutely take some time to crush that like button for me. Slap it, just bitch slap it for me. I'd really appreciate if you could do that. It helps me get the show get noticed. It helps new subscribers come on board. And that's what I'm looking for. Donations are always great. And by the way, if I've missed any, my apologies. I promise I'll go into the chat room in a minute and find those donations. But for me, the best donation is them likes. That like squad, please absolutely crush the like button for me. It really is helpful when you guys do that. Okay, quickly. Let's talk about a target that looks like he's off to Manchester United, and that's Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Pretty gutted about this one, I must admit. He is the 23-year-old striker that plays for Lyon. Previously has played for Celtic and Fulham before that. It looks as though Man United have got some sort of agreement in place for a £61 million move for the striker, which actually I know sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but all intents and purposes, for a player that has, I think he had at least a couple of years left on his contract, and he's 23 years old. It's not the worst price. I'm just being real. It's not the worst price in the world, so they must be well happy with that. But yeah, what do you guys think? It's just, for me, this would have been my number one person that I would have wanted Aubameyang replaced with. But what do you guys think? Is this one that you feel Arsenal have let go of? I must admit, the sort of people that United are being linked with, I'm going to be worried about these lot next season. They look about this life next season. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Speaking of Dembele, oh my goodness, I'm the segue king out here. Odsonne Dembele, played for Osama, Ousmane Dembele plays for Barcelona. He is, how can I put it? Well, he has not had the greatest of times the last couple of years. Really hasn't had a good time this season. Barcelona are desperate to get him off the books. And there's been no interest, surprise, because the last time I heard of a price for Ousmane Dembele, it was something in the region of 80 million. It's like, who's paying that for Ousmane Dembele? Well, I think it seems like Barcelona have seen a little bit of sense in this, because they've decided to lower the price on Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Dembele believes that sorry, just was distracted by another story. The price that they have lowered it to for Ousmane Dembele is £53 million. I still think there is a player there. I must admit, though, this would have been an easier gamble to take if Pepe had lit the Premier League up, the way I think a lot of people expected. I'm still expecting him to do that. But I think if you buy two wingers that are struggling in that department, that are quite similar, albeit they play on opposite sides of the pitch, I just feel like you're asking for criticism, you're asking for trouble. Especially if you don't bring in a high money or high quality centre back, but then you decide to spend the little money you do have on a winger that hasn't done much for you in the past couple of years. It would be such an Arsenal thing to do, but it wouldn't be a sensible thing to do. What do you guys think? Is this something that you think Arsenal are going to proceed on? Let me know. Leave the comments below. I think that is pretty much it. I was going to talk about another story where apparently Arsenal are very interested in a 15-year-old wonder kid, but I think I'll leave that. But they're one of 5 teams interested in this younger kid, but I might talk about that one tomorrow. All right, let me come into the chat room. I'm not going to be long because I've got some work shit to do, primary work shit to do. So I'm going to talk for very long. But in the meantime, please do stick a like on this video. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And yeah, let's see what you lot are saying. All right, first of all, let me do my little donation check. Have I missed any? Let me know. Don't think so. Okay, just done a quick scan. Nothing standing out donation-wise. All right, cool. All right, let's see what you lot are saying. Or people being nice to each other in the chat room for once. I like your name. No, I like your name. Okay, that's good. Chig, next season ain't ready for Pepe. He's just sorry. Let me try that again. Krish. Next season ain't ready to see Pepe. He's working. I'm hoping he's working, bro. I'm hoping. Arsenal need 4 players this summer: a right back, a centre back, a central defensive midfielder, and a versatile midfielder. So he proposes a Max Aarons, a Kamara, a Upamecano, or a Gabriel, a Partey, or a Dominic Szoboszlai, an Awoura, or a Tolisso. I agree with everything you said other than Tolisso. I don't think he's in that. I think he's okay, but I don't think he's in the caliber of the players that you're talking about. Out of the list, strictly out of the list you picked, Max Aarons, I'd go with that. Out of those 3, I'd go with Upamecano. Partey, you know it, of course. And Szoboszlai. I don't know. I like Awoura. I actually don't mind. Either Szoboszlai or Awoura, I'll take either one of those guys. I think they're both very, very good, very high caliber. All right. I'm going to be very strict on myself. We're going to do 10, 13 minutes. So 20 to 8, I'm out of here. 13 minutes. I'm going to be very strict. No OT today. Chig on OT. Icardi will bang in goals. Yo, bitch, I hope you get him. I take Icardi in a heartbeat. He would be a risk. I think he would upset a lot of stuff in the dressing room. But I also think he brings goals. Icardi wouldn't consistently give the goals the way Uber does, though. We'll see. We'll see. You always say things like you already know them, Chelsea. Like, how do you know that? Here we go. Come on, guys. Yarn man, Jamaica. We need Fekir, Aaron, Partey. Wouldn't be unhappy with that. Wouldn't be unhappy with that at all. Even though I think the Fekir train might have left, I still wouldn't be happy with that. Would it be unhappy with that, I should say? I'm 50-50 on Icardi. See, I'm more 60-40. I think when the chips are down, I think I would definitely opt to get him, but I could definitely understand the hesitation, for sure. Chig, I love your surname. I don't know my surname, bro. Chig, would you sell Laka and Uber both linked to Napoli if the money was good enough? If the money was good enough. By the way, I didn't see the answers. So let me know now. If you're offered 90 million for both Lacazette and Aubameyang, would you take it? 100 mil, I'm telling you now, I'd definitely take it. 90 mil, I'm on the edge. I'd be very tempted. But I've got to have an excellent plan B as to, all right, I'm selling both these guys. Now what? All right. So here we go. Peace would take it. Joseph would take it. Ben would take it. Hacks would demand 110 mil. Oh, 110, I'll definitely take it. I'll definitely take it 110. 100 mil, I'll take it, to be honest. Chris would take less. Wow. I want someone to pose this question to Lee, by the way. Triv, did you watch the 4 o'clock club like I told you Nope, I did not. Brother, got lots of things to do, you know. Uh, I take 100. Starboy, the young man, would take 100. Omar, the other young man in the group, would also take 890 and bounce. I answered your question, Justice. Fire them likes, like Miss Molina says. I know who you all flirt with. It'll be so hilarious if she turns out to be a guy. Uh, Possibly 90. That's what I'm with you, Ty, man. I'd be tempted. For 90 mil for both, I'd be tempted. I would be tempted. I would be tempted. Take it with Koulibaly and a money swap. Yeah, that could be a smarter way of doing it. To say, okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. If you want Aubameyang and Lacazette, why don't you give us? We don't value Koulibaly as much as you do, as do. So why don't we say you give us Koulibaly and give us 20 mil, and you can have them both. I think that would be a decent way of at least extracting immediate value out of that deal. You bring in a world class defender, and you still got some change. Just wait. I wouldn't do a straight swap for one player and give away two. That to me don't sit well with me. Mr. Franklin says he would take the deal. Yeah, please tell him, especially when I'm answering this freaking question. Tell him. Jahid will take 85. Okay. I assume you are. I assume you are. Jousty, for me, it's all about what happens when the money, with the money. Uber is quality, not world class, but I have no trust in this club when it comes to signings and not pissing it on crap. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. That's why my stipulation in my question is if you were offered 90 million for both, and a Stan said, oh, by the way, you can have the 90 million to spend on who you want, but you need to extract the most you can out of these two. Would you take the deal? Is the question. But you're absolutely correct. For me, I've said it for a while. I think a lot of the problem is the recruitment. It is I knew you'd say that. It's the recruitment. It's the recruitment of the players. Big D's, Mama. If you didn't check out the podcast I did with him and Ola, please do. That was Sunday's episode. It was good. It's real professional feeling. I don't know how I stumbled into professional mode for that, but I did. So do check that out. Diesel says, I take 100 million, provided every penny gets reinvested and Arteta gets the players he wants. Agreed. And I think that actually answers Jousy's concern, which was, yeah, it's all well and good getting the cash, but then what do you do with it? So, yeah. So it's a good comment now. I will, Melina. Then that way you can prove to me you are real. Because I'm still skeptical. Partey is the second centre back if anybody leaves. So, sorry, Partey is the first priority. Second is a centre back, but that's the way it should be. For me, we've brought in centre backs, and the problem hasn't gone away. The thing we've not addressed properly is a dominating midfield, and I don't mean Lucas Torreira. I think Lucas. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I like Lucas Torreira, but I can understand why managers don't pick it. In a way, I can understand. In some ways, I can't because it's not like we have better options. But in terms of him, I can understand why he doesn't get the game time he wants because he often is out of position. He often is out of position. And for me, It's all well and good at you having pace and making last-ditch tackles. I am more worried if you're out of position all the time. It means A, you're not learning, and B, you're not disciplined enough to play the position. So I could see why Emre didn't trust him in that spot. I could see why Arteta isn't overly comfortable with him in that spot. There's a reason why these managers are not trusting him to play that position. And there's a reason why we're looking for Partey. Now, don't get me wrong, for all the criticism I can level at Torreira, I can level much more at Granit Xhaka. But one thing I would say for Xhaka, and this is going to be highly controversial, I will say it anyway. If there is one compliment I can give this dude, his positional sense is excellent in terms of weight, weight, weight. In terms of you'll rarely see him galloping forward. You'll rarely see him moseying on forward just aimlessly and then being caught out of position. Now, don't get me wrong, every other aspect of his game is terrible. Don't get me wrong. Wait, it's controversial. I'm talking about his positional sense when he's off the ball and he's at least there in the anchor position. 9 times out of 10, you'll find Granit Xhaka there in the anchor position. So hear what I'm saying, because I don't want people to take that out of context, right? Because yes, I know generally he usually gives the ball away, and then you almost rather he wasn't there in that position sometimes. But I think positionally, he's a more smarter player than Lucas Torreira. God knows who'd make it look half professional pro. Commands to Arsenal. Yeah, you know that's the sort of signing we make. He's 2 million. He's decent. He's young. You know, it is what it is. Those are the sort of bargains Arsenal like. Listen, I have no problem bringing him on board if he's good enough, but I do worry. Why the heck, uh, is he only £2 million? That's my question. Take Koulibaly deal plus money swap for Aubameyang and Lacazette by. Okay. Melina is real. Fire the likes for Big C. Arsenal, I still think, won't sign anyone because of the pay cut, morale issues. Nah, I think we'll sign someone even under the circumstances. It won't be the business that we expect. That's all. Mari or Gabriel, for me, it'd be Gabriel. I haven't seen anything out of Mari. Melina was real, but she got a lot of guys, got a lot of thirsty guys batting for Melina hard. Yeah. I'll take two Koulibaly plus money for Uber and Lacazette and reinvest the money in Zangara, Diassi, cleans up the defence and midfield in one swoop. Yeah, but then you still got the striker problem because you've just now let two of your strikers that are capable at least of getting goals in the league. You got to do something about that to appease the fans, to appease the inevitable criticism you get. Jonathan, David, and Edouard Lacazette, Bamian Gold, and a winner like Dembele or Chiesa or Depay. Thoughts on Reece Nelson? For me, not good enough. Personally, I don't think he's good enough. I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't see the way I hoped he'd kick on this season. He just hasn't. He hasn't. So I don't expect him to moving forward. Should we give youth a chance? I think we should give the right youth a chance. I am shocked we ain't seen Balogun, for example. I keep mentioning his name. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's better than Eddie, for example. So yeah, I'm surprised we ain't seen him. All right, two more questions and I'm out. Two more questions. Who would be your number one striking option if Aubameyang leaves? Well, he's off to United, and that's Moussa Dembele. After that, it would probably be Icardi. And then after that, it would be Odsonne Edouard. Those would be my three in order. One more. I'll do this question because Hacks keeps spamming it. I thought this is a player that I always thought moved to United too early. He's obviously gone to Lyon and done very well. But for me, I wouldn't personally go for him. It's just for me that it wouldn't be something I look to do. Melina, I will. That's one of the features that's going to be part of my membership stream. So when I set up my members next week, my membership thing next week, one of the things that's going to be part of that will be to do streams with subscribers or members. And last question, guys, before I head up out of here. Would I sell Hector Bellerin? Yeah, all right, let's finish with that. 100% absolutely, yes. I would have sold him yesterday, yes. I hope that answers your question. Guys, you guys need to get used to not spamming stuff, man. I see your questions. I will come to them. Relax. Be easy. And yes, that is the case, Omar. That is the case. All right, guys, I am heading up out of here. Please do stick a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll be back again tomorrow. Hopefully, when Lee's not on live him on his own channel or on the football terrace, people spamming it in the chat. Like, guys, allow me, man, and let me finish my shit before we start advertising someone else's shit. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let me head up out of here. Enjoy the football terrace, guys. I'm off back to do some work. I'll see you guys later. Take care.